Hi and welcome back to another lesson in P5.js. Today we're going to be looking at and or statements, and we call these compound statements when we create our conditionals. What we're looking for is to have multiple things to be true in our program in order to execute whatever we want to happen within the program. So you want to say something like, if I get permission, if it's sunny outside and I get permission from my parent, then I can go to the park. So we have two different things that have to be true in order for that condition to be met. And we'll be taking a look at that today. So we know from our last lesson that if we want anything to change on our screen, we need to create a variable in order to do so. So I'm going to run this program, and we have these four quadrants here. The only reason that we have four quadrants is because we're going to be changing each of the different quadrants with a conditional statement to a different background color. So again, we're first going to create a variable. Again, if we need to have anything change in our program, we need to create a variable in order to do so. I'm going to hit enter at the top of my program, and I am going to create a variable, and I am just going to call it BG color, so background color. If I can spell. And then we know once we've declared our variable, we must go inside of our setup in order to initialize that variable. So background color is equal to, and then from our last program we know that if we must use color, we must tell it that we are going to use color. And I'm going to just set it to the same color that it is right now, so that's the default color. So I'm going to say my color is 220. Won't stay in there. Let's go 220, and then I must use it. So I'm going to come in here and I am going to change this to BG color, and it's going to be the same thing that I had before. So we're going to keep it the default at gray. So what I want to do is that I'm going to change this particular quadrant first. So you're going to be working with the same. You're going to create some else if statements in order to complete the rest of this program. But what I want to do is that I want each quadrant to be a different color. And we're going to work, I'm going to do this one, and then you're going to complete the rest of it. So if I am looking at this particular quadrant, if I look at the numbers, then I know if I'm like squarely in the middle of it, then it's somewhere around 200. And as the numbers go across, if you're looking at my X value, it's increasing and it's increasing. And also if I start here on the Y, which is at 197 right now, and I go down, then the number also increases from 200 up to about 400. So same thing from the X, it goes from 200 to 400. So that I know that each of my values in this particular quadrant must be above 200. So my mouse X, which is on the X plane, should be greater than 200, and then my mouse Y as well. So my mouse Y is greater than 200. In JavaScript, when we want to say or use and, we use the ampersand sign. So I'm just going to put a notation of that in my program. So when we want to use and in JavaScript, we use the double ampersand sign, and that can be found right over the number 7. And when we want to use or in JavaScript, we use the double pipe sign, and that's over like the enter key. So you hold down your shift and you press on that. So and uses the double ampersand sign or uses in JavaScript the double pipe sign. And like I stated, we know that this last quadrant that I want to change, my mouse X has to be greater than 200, right? So if I want to change the color in there, has to be greater than 200. I'm going to split space there. And that's for the right side. And my mouse Y has to be greater than 200 as well. On the bottom. Alright, so that's just some notes for us to kind of get familiar with what we are going to do in the program. So I need a condition statement that says, and we know when we do our condition statements, we start with an if, we open up parentheses, and I just like to do the whole setup. We do our curly brackets. So if I am going to say my mouse X is greater than 200, and again, when we want to use and, we're using the double ampersand, my mouse Y is greater than 200, right? So that's the condition we want met. What do I want to happen? I want my background color to change, sorry, I want to say it's color. And I am going to do that magenta color, so 255, 0, 255. So if I run my program, I'm in this quadrant, nothing happens because my mouse is not greater than in the X. It's not greater than. I put it here, nothing happens. I put it here, nothing happens. But as soon as I go into this quadrant, because my mouse X is greater than 200 and my mouse Y is greater than 200, then my background color has changed to a different. So I'm just going to console.log that this is my bottom right. So when I run this, I am within that quadrant, then it's going to tell me that that's my bottom right. So you are going to finish up this program with some else if statements that are going to change these different quadrants. You would want to end with an else that says, maybe if you're in the very center of this program, that it is going to be maybe the default color, which is the 220. So happy coding, and I'll see you in the next lesson.